Right. Welcome, everyone. This is English 112. I was going to say hopefully you're in the right place, but obviously you couldn't have access to this video if you hadn't been in the right place. Anyway, my name is Dr. Hill, and I am your teacher for this class. And so this is just a little welcome video to welcome you to our class. But what I'm going to do in this video is go through our course syllabus, so you know what our class is going to be about, and then go over the Canvas site for anyone who might be new to Northwest, or maybe you just need a refresher on how the Canvas site works, etc. So hopefully by the end of this video, you will have a better idea of what our class is going to be like and how to work your way through the Canvas site and all of that. So I'll just start in on the syllabus. I'm going to share my screen and I'll have the syllabus up on the screen and you can look at it, and I'll just walk you through it. All right, so you can find this syllabus on Canvas. If you click on syllabus when you're on there, obviously you will find that. So it's very important to look at the syllabus and make sure you're doing all the things that it says you're supposed to do and all of that kind of stuff. So I'll just go through the important points on this. I won't read everything on here because you can read yourself, but I'll point out some of the important things. So my email address is right here, hhill@nwmissouri.edu. I'm really good about answering emails right away. So if you have questions or anything like that, email is your best bet. The phone number listed here is my office phone, so it doesn't text message or anything like that. And I'm in my actual office over the summer, actually not really at all. So that phone number is not really useful to you. They make us put the office phone on there, but in summer especially, I'm not ever in the office. So email is your best bet. But like I said, I answer emails right away. And if you want to talk one-on-one, like face-to-face, in a sort of face-to-face, we can always do a Zoom appointment whenever really. So yeah, I don't have specific office hours set for this class, but anytime you want to meet on Zoom, just let me know and we can figure out a time to do that. So some of this stuff is you can read on your own. The textbook, there's no textbook, so you don't have to buy anything for this class. So all the readings we're going to do are PDFs that are on Canvas. By the time you are watching this video, most everything I think probably will all be on there already. Hopefully. But it should be. So, but you don't have to buy anything. That's the point there. This course description is just the really in general one that you see in the catalog. So study and practice of writing as a form of engagement in public and personal contexts. We'll talk a little bit more about what that means in a minute. It builds writing skills through the investigation of communities outside of the university while working towards transferring skills gained in 111, such as rhetoric, research, genre awareness, etc. Students will investigate and write in personal and public genres using appropriate conventions, including visual rhetoric and other media. So that's kind of in general what this course is about, but we'll talk about some more specifics of what we're actually going to do in this class in a second. Instructional methods. So this is important. Every week there's a video to watch, a reading to do, an online discussion to complete, and a paper to write. So those are the 4 things, and you should do them in that order. So if I was going to give you a sort of like schedule, here is what is like how you work out your week. Obviously, everyone has a different schedule and you may be working or whatever, so you do it when you can. But the ideal would be that on Monday, you watch the video for the week. On Tuesday, you do the reading for the week. On Wednesday, you start your online discussion, you do your initial post, and start your paper. Thursday and Friday, you're finishing your paper. Saturday, you're uploading, you're doing your responses to other people's discussions. So in the discussion, you'll have to do an initial post and then several responses to your peers. So do that by Saturday, and then Sunday is when the paper is due. Okay, some weeks the paper is just a one to two paragraph summary of the reading. Other weeks it's a draft of a paper. Okay, and some weeks it's not a new paper, it's just a revision from last week. So I'll give you feedback on it in the first couple days of the week, and then your paper project, your paper for that week is a revision, not a new paper. But that's what you should do. So watch the video, do the reading, do the discussion, and then have the paper due. The paper is always due on Sunday. So every single week you should go through that process. Okay. So most of the papers in this class are graded credit, no credit. You will see that they are out of very few points. So like if it's just a summary response, it's out of 1 point. You either do it or you don't do it. As long as you fulfill the requirements, you will get full points. Partial credit is given if you do some of the requirements and maybe not all of them, but the requirements are super, super objective and easy to fulfill. So you'll see that when we get to the assignment prompts, that they're very easy to do. Like, not that the papers are easy to write, but doing them, fulfilling the requirements are not complicated or hard to understand. So you'll know exactly what you need to do to fulfill those requirements and get full points. Okay. So hopefully that takes a little bit of anxiety off of you. I'm not grading the papers per se on how good the writing is. So we'll talk more about why at a later date. So a large part of the grade, though, is participation. So in an online class, that means logging into Canvas often, doing the readings, participating in the discussions, turning your papers in on time, generally keeping a high level of engagement in the course materials. So 40% is participation and 60% is on those writing projects. So the writing projects are, there's two summaries, and they're usually a summary / response. So you have to do one paragraph that's summarizing the main points of this reading, and then respond by saying, here's what I think about that. Here's how that relates to my own experience, or something about how that's going to affect the way you write in the future, or something like that. So two of those, and then the main purpose, which we'll get to in a few minutes, of this particular section of 112 is to think about the professional community that you're trying to enter. So whatever your major is or career path, that professional community has certain types of writing that they use. And you might have to write them as a member of that community, but you'll probably at least have to read them. And so the purpose is for you to figure out the kinds of writing that is used in your professional community that you're attempting to enter, or maybe you're already part of that community. Maybe you're already working in the healthcare field and you're working towards getting your degree in nursing or something like that. You might already be a part of that community. But the point is to think critically about the types of writing used in that community and why they're written in certain ways. So what you're going to do is your main projects are going to be the how-to guide is where you're going to analyze a particular genre in that field, that professional community, and basically write a how-to guide, like how to write in this genre for someone who is trying to learn how to write that genre. And then you're going to do a professional genre where you actually write in that genre. Okay, so those are the two big projects, the how-to guide and then you writing in that genre yourself. And then there's a critical reflection. The last paper is like reflecting on what you learned in this class and how you might be able to use that in the future. Okay. A little bit more information about participation. I already mentioned this stuff, but to get full points, log into Canvas regularly, meet the due dates for all writing assignments, engage the readings, participate in the online discussions, and just keep effort and investment on each paper and everything else we do in this course. If you're new to Northwest, you might not know, but we don't do plus and minus grades. We just do full letter grade. So A, B, C, D, F, 90 and up, 80 to 89, etc. I do almost always round up. So if you end up with an 89%, I'll probably round you up to an A. So, okay, so this is like specifically what we're going to do in this class, which I kind of already mentioned a little bit. So in composition 1, if you took it from us, or as dual credit from us, you investigated and began to learn to write appropriately for the academic community in general. So that class here is called Writing in Academic Contexts. If you took it if you took it more than a year ago from us, it was called, what did we call it? Some intro to academic literacies. I think it was called academic literacies. But either way, the title might have changed, but it still was about writing sort of in general for academic context, right? So in this class, we're gonna continue that a little bit, and we're gonna build on that, but we're gonna think about writing appropriately for another community, and that is your career field. So, for example, if you are a nursing student, as I mentioned, you will investigate what it means to write like a nurse and what genres nurses tend to write. The word genre may be new to you in this context. Most people think of genre as like genres of movies or genres of music or even like subgenres of novels, etc. But we're going to talk about genres in a little bit different way. And you maybe never had thought about the word genre in terms of writing before this class. But we'll get to that. So if you're not sure how we're using genre in this context right now, you will get that. So anyway, in this class, you will begin to understand more fully what every community uses writing in a different way, and that there is no universal standard for good writing. You must learn to adapt your knowledge for every community that you write for and every genre you write. We will investigate what that means for you personally in your future writing. Okay. All right. So I mentioned the writing projects already. You will have 2 short reflections. For the first main paper, you will collect examples of a professional genre that you will have to write in your career, or you may not write it personally yourself, but you might have to use it in your career. So some depending on which part of your of that particular field, you may not personally be the one writing those things, but it's something you might have to use. You will analyze these examples in order to write a how-to guide for writing in that genre. Next, you will try to imitate that professional genre, attempting to write in that genre yourself. Okay. And all of these projects you'll get more information about them in the week that they're due. So I will have a video that explains them in much more details. The last project is a reflection essay on what you learned in this class and how you will be able to use that information in future writing situations. All right, so class discussions is a big part of your participation grade. So you want to take those seriously. So every week there's a discussion. So there's a reading, and then the discussion is always on something to do with the reading. So what you will need to do is post your initial response to the questions by Wednesday, and then by Saturday you need to respond to at least 2 of your classmates. Okay. The questions are yeah, like I said, they're all based on the reading. Obviously there's no attendance in a online class like this, but I can see when the last time you logged into Canvas was and how long you have been on Canvas. So obviously I'm not taking attendance or anything like that, but it's part of your participation grade that you are actively involved in the class, which means getting on Canvas, doing the readings, making sure you're doing the discussions, all of that stuff, which is sort of counts as your attendance in this class. In terms of the late policy, I am pretty flexible when it comes to granting extensions if you ask for them. But if papers are just turned in late with no word to me, that's a different story. So if you need more time, something comes up, you aren't going to get it in on time, just let me know and I will give you an extension on the date. However, I will say in a class like this, it's only 7 weeks long. if you start getting behind, it's very difficult to catch up because everything comes up just bam, bam, bam. It's a really quick, if you get behind on one paper, the next paper is already due. So it just sort of becomes a snowball. So really try to keep up on the stuff. I mean, none of the stuff in this class is super hard, I don't think. But it is just quick because there's a lot to do in a short amount of time. So just try to keep up on all of that. There's no final exam. The reflection essay is the last thing you will do. Academic integrity, basically this just says write your own papers. And do not use AI to write any parts of your papers or discussion posts. Okay, we're not going to use AI in this class. Other classes you might, but in this class we're not going to do that. I want you to write your own stuff. And then we have the calendar here, which just tells you what the reading is for the week and what is due that week. So you can see we're doing Downs and Wordle the first week, and then you're going to have a summary. And then the next week is Wordle. Begin looking for your professional examples. There's a discussion. There's a discussion the first week too. So I don't know why that doesn't say that. But anyway, so it just tells you what the reading is, what the paper is, and what the discussion is, etc. Okay. All right. So if there are any questions about that, obviously you can just send me an email and I will answer you right away. So I will stop the share on this and move to our Canvas page. So when you get on Canvas, this is what it's going to look like. If you have not taken a class with us before, this will be important because obviously everything we're doing is on Canvas. One thing to keep in mind, you can't just look at this to-do list and know what you're supposed to do, because the only things listed here are things that have a due date, specific due date, which some of the stuff does, but like most of the stuff does, but like the discussions don't show here because there's not a specific due date, even though there sort of is. Like you can't put a due date. Like I can't, as an instructor, put a due date on a discussion. I can say when the discussion is open, but I can't say that it's due on a certain day because it's not an assignment. So it's not going to show up here. So I have in the past had students completely forget to do the discussions because they weren't here on the to-do list. Last term, I had a student who never clicked on our actual course and only just went here and looked at this. You do have to click on our actual course. If you don't do that, you will not get all of the stuff and you will not be able to, like, if you've never clicked here, it will show to me that you have never been on our course. Like, it will say that you've never logged into Canvas, even though you may have been on this page. You have to click on our actual class, right? So composition, that's not us. Composition 2 is us. I haven't published it yet, so it's not there for you. If you look, well, obviously by the time you're watching this video, it will all be there. But composition 2, so you have to click on that, right? Oh, it still says writing as engagement. Okay, that's the old name of this class. I guess I have to go in and change that. That's not the name of this class anymore. It's called writing for personal and public contexts. Anyway, so composition 2. When you come in, you will see that it has a little start here button, right? Start here, I mean, that just tells you what to do. You just start here. There's stuff along the side, which I'll go over really quickly, but mostly all you'll need to do is press start here and you'll see what to do. I will use the announcements quite a lot. That's the most important way I communicate with you. Here's where you can see your grades. The syllabus will be here. The modules, if you want to skip ahead to whatever module you're on, the discussions are here, etc. Everything is listed here on the side, but if you're just going straight through the course, you won't need to click on any of this except for announcements and grades. So, and I'll show you why. When you click start here, you get to this, okay? If you click on the first thing at the very top, start here, what happens is you just have to read all of this. I mean, this is just telling you what to do here, and then click next. And then you get to the course introduction. And obviously, this is where you found this video. It's not here yet because I'm still making the video. But this is where you found this video, right? So all you need to do is just keep scrolling. After you watch this video, just keep scrolling. Read all of this stuff and click next. There's some information about me. Read all this stuff if you want to. Click next. There's some stuff about technical requirements. There's a little bit more about academic integrity, attendance policies, etc., dropout policies, all the stuff you might need. Some more course policies if you want to know all this, some more specifics. Just keep scrolling down, just keep reading and keep scrolling down and keep pressing next. So you just read through stuff and go down. Once you get to the end of this intro section, this is like not even to the first module yet. This is like module 0. I don't know. I guess it's module 0. You get to module 1, right? And then module 1 is where we start to actually get to the course content, okay? So there's an introduction to the module, what the module objectives are, like here's what we're going to learn this week, and then here's where you find all of the stuff, right? Here's the reading you need to do. Here's some more information about the topics we're going to discuss, discussion, and papers, etc. But then you get to the next page. This is where you will get, this is where you will start to get the content. So the first thing you will see is a video, right? This is obviously a placeholder because I haven't made this video yet. But this is where you will get to the video. So you'll see the video, you'll press next. You'll see the discussion. Now, you might have to go back because if you have not done downloaded the reading, if you're on this page, so this is the overview, this is where the reading is, okay? So you need to make sure you download this reading at this time. And then when you go next, you can watch this video and then do the reading so that when you press next and you get to the discussion, you're ready to go on that. So once you get to the discussion, obviously you need to have read that text already. So this is asking you about the text written by Downes and Wardle, and you need to answer these questions. And then after a few days, and that's the thing too, you can't, like, you do just sort of go down and press next, go down and press next. But because the discussions, for example, you have to come back to it to respond to your classmates, right? So you can't just continue to go forward because in the week you will have to go back and do the responses to your classmates. And you may have to go back because you didn't, like, if you watched the video and now you want to go do the reading and you didn't download it, you'll have to go back. So you can't, I mean, like, it's not explicitly like just keep going down and pressing next. You have to go back a lot of times. So keep that in mind. But then you press next and you have the assignment for the week, and here's where you can upload that, right? So it gives you the assignments, prompt, what you're supposed to do. The first week is just a summary response, and you can do that. And then you press next. And then you get a little summary. Here's what we talked about this week. And what you should have learned. And we're going to continue working on these themes in the coming weeks. And then you press next. And you get to the next one. So then you get to module 2. So everything you do, every single week, as I said, video, reading, discussion, paper due. So, and it should be kind of done in that order. Always watch the video first, and then do the reading, and then do the discussion, okay? But everything can be done ahead of time, except for the only thing that can't be done super far in advance is you can't obviously respond to your classmates discussion posts if they haven't done them yet, right? I mean, you have to wait for them to do a discussion post for you to be able to respond to it. This is one reason why it's very important that you do it on time, your first initial discussion by Wednesday, because other people are depending on you to do some sort of initial discussion for them to be able to respond to it on time. And there might be somebody in this class who works Friday and Saturday nights and really needs to be able to do their work on Thursday. And if half the class is late on doing their first initial discussion, it doesn't give that person a lot of people to respond to. Okay, so just keep that in mind too. But everything else you can do ahead of time. You can work ahead as much as you want. The only time that would cause maybe a tiny bit of a problem too, not a problem, but like where you couldn't just like zoom through the class and go all the way to the end and finish in 2 weeks, is that there are times when you have revisions that you're supposed to do on your paper. So it's like a first draft and a second draft. And that the second draft depends on the comments that I make on your first draft. So the discussions, you have to respond to your classmates. So if you're trying to do week 4 when everyone else is still on week 2, no, you might not have no one to respond to. And then also the weeks where there are revisions, you have to wait for me to give you feedback so that you can take those into account for your revisions. Okay. So there are a lot of ways to work ahead if you want to just bam, 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 get this thing done. But there are times when you may have to wait for feedback, or you might have to wait for other people to catch up so that you can comment on theirs, etc. Anyway, but other than that, it's a pretty, to me, pretty self-explanatory once you get into the course. So just click here, start here, and then obviously you did that far enough to get to this video. So yeah, so if you have questions about any of that, it should be self-explanatory, but obviously there might be things that I didn't realize were confusing or whatever. So if you have questions or you're not sure where you are, just send me an email and I will get back to you on it. The most important thing to remember is to click on our course and go through, start here, start at the top and just work your way down. You do have to go back sometimes, but mostly you can work your way down. And if you're confused ever or not sure what you're supposed to be doing, just let me know and I will get back to you. I'll answer your email right away, or if you want to get on Zoom, we can do that as well. All right, so I think that is it for now. And the next video will be introducing week 1 content and talk to you about the paper that's due, the reading you're going to do that week, and all of that. So that should be the next thing on your list, is to start working your way down and get to week 1 and start on the stuff in that module. All right, let me know if you have any questions.